A newly released deposition gives us more insight into how Isleworth millionaire murder suspect Bob Ward will be defending himself.
He's due to go to trial September 12th, and one key question developing in this case is, did Ward wash his hands? Watch 2's Bob Keeling joins us live with more. And Bob, why is this such a critical question?
Hey, Jim, because court records indicate there were not enough key compounds for the state to argue definitively that Ward had gunshot residue on his hands from shooting and killing his wife. And one explanation the state may offer is that Ward washed his hands before they were tested.
Diane's dead.
Oh, no.
In a police interview room the night of his wife's shooting death, investigators took gunshot residue samples from Bob Ward's hands. Court papers indicate there were not enough of the telltale chemicals for the state to argue definitively that Ward had gunshot residue on his hands. Why? Prosecutors may argue in trial that Ward had time to wash his hands after the shooting. In this new deposition, a defense gunshot residue expert disagrees. He claims his tests turned up no less than 2,000 particles on both of Ward's hands. Trace amounts of gold, iron, salt, and tin. How could all that be there if he'd washed his hands? And to make matters worse for the state, tests showed trace amounts of gunshot residue on the victim, Diane Ward's, hands.
The gunshot residue evidence seems to favor the defense because it's inconclusive as to who was holding the gun, and it seems to favor the notion, at least the defense's notion, that Diane Ward was holding the gun at some point and that she committed suicide.
To support that claim, recent defense documents suggest Diane Ward had ingested what they term an overdose amount of an antidepressant. Criminal defense attorney Richard Hornsby says the best thing the state has going for it right now is the trajectory of the gunshot wound, which does not support the argument Diane Ward shot herself. And Bob Ward also allegedly told dispatchers that he had shot his wife. And coming up all new at 5, you'll hear the story he gave the very first relative he called while in that police interview room. And we should also mention that, Jim, there's a big hearing coming up in this case on Thursday. Let's get back to you.
Bob, thanks so much.